Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. Let's see what message Spirit has for us today. Six of Cups. So this is a card about the past, about happier times or happy memories in the past. So yeah, we can see in this card that we're healing something to do with our past, something to do with relationships. Could be a past life soulmate, or just somebody from our past in this lifetime. Or it could be a past version of ourselves as well. This is what I like to think, where you can see in this card, it looks as though someone is giving something to someone else. And could be that we're needing to give ourselves self-love for things that happened to us in the past when we were not as conscious and we'd projected out a lot of unloving things and blamed people for things. So we projected our own darkness out and then saw it as coming from them, not realizing that we're the creator of the dream. So quite often we just need to give lots of love and kindness to our current self and understand that we were doing the best we could and the other person was doing the best they could, and that we chose these challenges in this lifetime to help us heal and to help us to remember that only love is real, and that anything that seems to happen that's unpleasant to us is always a lesson, and we need to look at other people as angels rather than as problems. And the more guilt and fear we have in the mind, the more we want to push out this self-hatred onto other people, but then at the same time we don't, because what comes back at us doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for us to own the self-hatred or to project it onto somebody else. What feels better is to see that there's nothing really to hate, in that the self-hatred comes from a false concept that we're separated from our thoughts and that we're guilty sinners, and that we or anybody else could be guilty in the sense of thinking through the eyes of the spirit, and that we're all in this dream together, and it's an impossible situation, and we're all in various states of fear and self-hatred, and really we just need to bring love to everything. That's the only way that we can free ourselves, by seeing humanity as one big team we're all walking each other home, essentially. We're all helping each other. We're all reflecting the parts of us that need healing. So rather than seeing other people as problems, we see people as clues and opportunities to heal and help us get home. So yeah, I think this is nice about this card, that it really helps us to see just what we need to heal, and just accept it lovingly and gently. And if any rage or hatred comes up, then we accept it, because it's part of it. It's part of anything that's repressed or stuck down that we need to deal with. We let it come up, and we thank our brothers and sisters, and we thank our past for helping us heal and showing us where we were struggling. So the Knight of Coins, which is the Knight of Pentacles, is a card about being very dedicated and persevering. Reminds us that we need to stay mindful and grounded, and focus on being as faithful as possible. Building trust takes time. We know from A Course in Miracles that we have the development of trust. There's 6 stages, and it says 4 of them are painful. So we know that we're going to be tested. And in order to learn to trust, the spirit needs us to see that every time something bad happens to us, it's actually helpful, it's actually healing, it's actually helping us let go of the false self and the false narrative. It feels like a process of annihilation, it feels painful and uncomfortable, but it's actually helping us. And we can be just slow and steady and gentle with ourselves as we do this work, and we repeatedly choose love in a very methodical way. And sometimes it's not that straightforward, and we do have to work through the darkness, but we allow ourselves to be in the mess of it sometimes and show ourselves grace. The Magician. So we're always alchemizing the darkness. We're always turning the darkness into light. And we do that by bringing love and grace and gentleness and passion, compassion even, to ourselves and to other people. So the Magician card doesn't necessarily have to be about creating things in the physical realm, as in manifesting physical things. The Magician can be all about the inner alchemy as well, and how we change everything from fear to love, and we alchemize everything by seeing it for what it truly is, and seeing it as an opportunity to love and be gentle with ourselves. So I like thinking of the Magician in this way, because we know that we have all the resources within. We know we have the inner strength of God. We have that focused intent. We have the capacity to be authentic and to call on help and just follow our inspired action. It may lead us to interact with other people. It will lead us to interact with other people that we need to reflect parts of us. And we can just be in gratitude for the journey, because when we see it from a more zoomed out perspective, we're giving up nothing for everything. And the Spirit really wants us to give our healing our full priority. We know that we just need to accept the atonement for ourselves. So that's the correction of our perception that we need to accept for ourselves. And we do that by loving and accepting others. It doesn't matter what they seem to have done. We still understand that they were doing their best and we were doing our best at the time, and that non-judgment and forgiveness returns everything to love. It neutralizes everything, and then it can make the external world seem a lot less threatening, because we've neutralized it and returned it back to innocence. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to keep people in our lives that we feel too much intensity with, but we can step back knowing that our interactions are helpful no matter what. So we're always purifying our light by removing the darkness, alchemizing the darkness, and retranslating everything with the Spirit. That's kind of how we transform everything. And the Spirit, we know that the Spirit sees everyone as love, everyone as love, or everything as love, or a call for love. And I think that's beautiful. Just, it's so simple. I mean, unity obviously is very simple, because there's only love. Only love is real. And I say that to myself, when something appears to be happening and there seems like there's complexity in the form, and I just remind myself that only love is real. And sometimes it doesn't land and we don't feel good, and then we do need to kind of delve a little deeper into our emotional state and what's happening, rather than spiritual bypassing. But other times, just reminding ourselves that only love is real works. So yeah, I always recommend just trying that and letting our emotions guide us about how we feel and what we need to look at. The Spirit's always going to be giving us opportunities to flush up the things that we need to flush up. And I think these triggers can feel like we don't want to flush them up, but really they're the magic, the treasure that we need. Or the Devil. So yeah, this card leads in well. So we're looking at anything to do with duality, anything to do with projection, anything to do with our darker beliefs, because the devil is the ego. So it's our belief in duality, our belief in separate bodies, our belief that we separated from our source, and the ways that we've developed to cope with these beliefs. So any addictions that we have, any imbalances that we have within ourselves, we get to look at why we're doing them and what exactly it is we're doing, with grace and with the Spirit. The Spirit always wants us to look at our distorted perceptions and the ways we see ourselves and others, so it can be brought to the light. The High Priestess. So the High Priestess card reminds us she's like the mystical, prophetic part of us that knows, understands higher truth, and understands metaphysics, understands that we create our own experience, that it's a projection of our consciousness. So we need to fundamentally change internally in order for our external experience to change, or certainly our perception of it. And yeah, the High Priestess is always just a reminder to go within and understand the true cause, and that the mind is the cause and the world is the effect, and accept that responsibility. It can seem quite challenging to accept that responsibility, particularly when we feel that we have unconscious and subconscious beliefs that play out patterns and things that we're not consciously aware of. It's very easy to deny that it's coming from us. But it makes perfect sense that everything would be under our own control, as it were, that we have dominion over our experience. Because to think that we would be born into a world where we could be terrorized by something not ourselves is disturbing. And obviously we can't believe that God would create a world like that. So we're really learning to tune into our inner self, and accept our divine responsibility to heal and look at our distortions. Oh, the Queen of Swords is tough. She's good at facing herself. She has no tolerance for nonsense. She's very strong. So once we understand that the mind is the cause and the world is the effect, then we have no choice really but to take responsibility for any changes, because there's no point blaming anything external, because it's futile. It just disempowers us. It makes us feel bad. And the more we project hatred and issues onto other people, the more problems we call forth. So we really do have to understand this and learn. And the Five of Cups can make us feel deep despair. I know when I first woke up, I thought, why on earth would God put us in this situation? And then you kind of grow to understand that God would never put us in this situation. We chose it ourselves. And that God gives us complete freedom, which includes the ability to not experience love. And that, yeah, has to be loving, because if we try and control someone or something, then that's not loving. If we have complete freedom, then I think that's all we ever want. All we ever want is that freedom. And we know that we don't really have free will, that the only way our will feels free is when we unite it with the way God thinks, which is unified thinking, which is seeing as everything as one and as a harmonious whole, and not projecting fragmentation or separation onto things. And then we're aligned with God, and that feels good. And we can celebrate that. We can always celebrate the achievement with others of reuniting at the mind level with everyone. And I remember my teacher once saying that we don't need other people to wake up. We just need to see that everybody else is innocent and that everybody else is one. We need to see it ourselves. And that's a huge relief, that we don't need to wake other people up, because many people don't want to wake up. And the truth is that if we see people that need waking up, then we're still asleep as well, because our mind is the spirit. Our spirit is the mind. That's the only part of us that's real, and it has no physicality whatsoever. It's just a state of being that understands that only love exists, that only love is real, and that we need to anchor ourselves in that more and more. And we do have opportunities with other people to celebrate that and really enjoy the emotional support and the friendship that we have with other people, sharing and being authentic. And when this card is beautiful, the way the cups and the water are all kind of intertwined and everyone's pouring into the middle, which is pouring into the truth, pouring into love and sanity, pouring back into God. And that's the only way that we find that happiness, is to align our mind with the truth. The Tower. So on the process of our spiritual journey, anything that's not the truth will have to collapse over and over. And sometimes we have big tower events and sometimes we have small tower events. But they're all, I think one of the things it says in the Course is there's no order of difficulties and there's no hierarchy of illusions. But because we value some things highly in form and other things not at all, then these towers can seem big or small. And the more distorted our perception is, the more the tower affects us, but the more chance we have to heal when these big challenges seem to happen. They're always to clear our path. They're always to help us see in a more expanded way. So they essentially unlock greater consciousness within us. So we should welcome the tower. And even though they don't feel good, they do help us have a really good purge and restabilize. Whenever we go through something that feels rough, we always level up and grow. So we do need these tower experiences to help us on our path. And when we can just accept them as helpful and weather the storm as we go through the darkness, and be brave about facing the darkness, understanding that it has to come up. It's almost like when you're cleaning a house, you've got to scrub at the dirt. When you vacuum in, all the dust comes up and before it gets sucked up the vacuum cleaner, it's all blown about. So really cleaning out the mind is a good thing, even if it does seem messy. The Six of Wands card is a card about victory and success. And the truth is, we're always having victory and success because consciousness never goes backwards. And even when, so we are always evolving, even when the ego is telling us we're not making any progress. In fact, usually when the ego is telling us we're not making any progress is probably when we're making the most progress. So the Six of Wands is always about success after struggle and about recognizing after the tower that we can believe in ourselves and harness our energy towards the truth, towards balance and harmony, and supporting others. So the Eight of Wands is about moving forwards in a very directed way towards the light. I like to think of this card as about making spiritual progress and keeping our purpose out front, which is all we need to do. We need to bring this forgiveness and non-judgment to everything that we do. Bring love and the truth to everything we do. And it doesn't really matter what we're doing. We can bring that to anything and everything because it's within the mind. So it's with us wherever we are. It's very much an inside job. And the Two of Wands card is about kind of being comfortable but wanting more. And I think we're kind of hardwired to be this way. But we always want more because we remember our divine home, remember the state of being where everything was one. And we're called back to it. Because it was heaven. State of oneness is heaven. So of course that's what we want. But we tend to not know how to go about it. So the Spirit is always giving us opportunities to leave our comfort zone and just stretch us a little bit more each time. Help us to grow in trust. So yeah, I think that was a sweet reading today. I hope you enjoyed it. I think these cards are beautiful, especially when you put them all together. They're very powerful. The colours and the pastels and the dark colours. Okay, I hope it helps. Love you. Bye.